Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is finally time. Welcome to the grand finale of the IIUM Road to Success League of Champions Debating Competition 2021. I am Shasha Madhu and I will be your master of ceremony that will lead you throughout the event today. Now, after 3 days of debating, with a clash of nuanced ideas and opinions from a total of 74 participants from 37 teams, 19 schools nationwide, we are now down to the final 4 teams in the debate today. Oh, wow. We have a double voice over here. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Now, we have reached the final round of the debate competition. Before we begin, I would like to once again remind the finalists and participants to use the backdrop provided and rename yourselves according to your team position, team name, and your name, and switch on to your cameras throughout the debate. You may switch off your cameras when it is not your turn to speak. To the rest of the participants, observers, and educators in the Zoom call, please ensure that your mic is muted at all times to avoid any disruptions throughout the debate. Now, I bet that all of you are excited to see the grand finale. Before I pass the floor, let me introduce to you the lady speaker of the house. I've personally debated alongside the lady, and she certainly has the charisma that is needed in today's debate. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now pass the floor to the lady speaker of the house from Ahmad Ibrahim Kuliah of Laws, an up-and-coming third-year avid K-popper, Sister Fatin Alisha. Here.
All right, I hope I'm audible. Thank you very much, Shasha, our MC for today. The house will now come to order. My name is Fatin Alisha, and I will be your speaker of the house for today. I am very pleased to welcome everyone to the grand finals of IIUM Road to Success League of Champions 2021. The motion being debated, as you guys have known, this afternoon would be, this house believes that individuals who actively choose to not take COVID-19 vaccines should be barred from receiving treatment in government hospitals if they ever contract COVID-19. I will now present our grand finalists, and kindly note to the speakers, please confirm whether your mic is audible or not when your name is called. Simply just say 1, 2, 3 or like mic test. Hence, seated with me today are our finalists, starting with MCDU 2 from Malik College Kuala Kangsar, representing the opening government. They consist of the Prime Minister, Khalif, and the Deputy Prime Minister, Adam Shahmi. Next, representing the opening opposition, we have also from Malik College Kuala Kangsar, MCKK1, we have the Leader of Opposition, Aidin, and Adib Amanuddin as the Deputy Leader of Opposition. Thirdly, we have the closing government consisting of Star A from Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman, in which the member of government would be Megat, and Faris Khan is the government whip. Finally, we have our closing opposition consisting of SAS A from Sekolah Sultan Alam Shah, where the member of opposition will be Amin, and the opposition whip is Shafiq. Congratulations to all finalists for making it to the grand finals, and all the best for your upcoming speeches. On behalf of the house, I extend a special welcome to our grand finals educators who are all IIUM English Debate Club's alumni and now prominent industry leaders in their own fields. Starting off with our chair or the panel judges for today, Mr. Syed Ahmad Taufik Albar. He is a finance professional and also a business leader, currently serving as Managing Director Group International Business at RHB Bank. His notable debate achievements are as follows: Top 10 Speaker Australs in 1995 and 1996, All-Asian Champion in 1996, and Top 10 Best Speaker. And finally, he was also the champion of the first Royal Malaysian Intervarsity Debating Championship in 1995 and Grand Finals Best Speaker. As for Ms. Fahada Nur binti Ahmad Kamar, our second educator, Ms. Fahada has been an advocate and solicitor for like 20 years and the managing partner of Fahada Nur and Yusmadi for 13 years. In debating, she was the Asian champion and Grand Finals Best Speaker in 1998, quarter finalist of Australs in 1999. Also, she won National Youth Award and Commonwealth Youth Award in 1999. As for the next educator, Mr. Daniel Abdul Rahman, he is currently the director at the Sunway Education Group, was an IIUM law graduate and received his BCL from Oxford University. He was the former president of IIUM English Debate Club, and in debating, he was the ESL Grand Finalist at World Debate Best Educator in Asia 2010. Following up next is Mr. Aizuddin Danien Izham Chong. Mr. Aizuddin is currently a digital banker for Standard Chartered Bank. He was also one of the former president of English Debate Club. And for your information, his name had appeared in Malaysia Book of Records as the first Malaysian team to break at World Debate among top 10. And to add on to his debate achievements, he also was part of the 1996 Asian Best Neophyte team. As for Mr. Muhammad Sani Ismail, Mr. Sani is the Principal Finance Specialist and Team Leader for Finance Sector and COVID Response Programs for Indonesia, Asian Development Bank. In debating, he was an Asian champion, also Austral's ESL champions. Moving on to Mr. Ivan Evatovics. Mr. Ivan is currently working as a teacher, communication consultant, also martial artist as dealer from Hungary. As for his debate achievements, he is a 2 times Asian runner-up and Asia's best speaker in 1999. He was also an ESL champion of Australasian debate and a recipient of the Royal Malaysian Education Award. Moving up next is Mr. Ibrahim Sani Asnan Muhammad. Mr. Ibrahim Sani is the executive producer, Astro Awani, and his past debate achievements were the former IIUM English Debate Club president and has debated at World Debate and Australasian Debate. As for Dr. Rahin Ismail, our next educator is a senior lecturer at the Australian National University. She was the co-recipient of the Max Crawford Medal in 2018, has been awarded by the Australian Academy of the Humanities for outstanding achievement in the humanities by an early career scholar. She also works on political Islam, sectarianism, and the intertwining nature of religion and politics in the Middle East. She is a regular commentator in Australian and international media on Islam and Middle East politics, including Voice of America and the BBC. In debating, she has represented IIUM in World Debate, Australasian Debate, and many other national and international debates and won many awards. As for our last educator, which is Mr. Azahan Azaid, Mr. Azahan is currently the digital banker for United Overseas Bank, and he has debated at several World Debate and Australasian Debate. He was also one of the champions of the Royal Malaysian Debate. Before we begin, here's a reminder for all of the speakers regarding the time. The timekeeper will indicate the time in the chat box at the 1st, 6th, and 7th minute. After the 7th minute, debaters are allowed 15 seconds to conclude their speeches, and educators will not consider points spoken beyond 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Upon the conclusion of one speech, I will then immediately call on the next debater to deliver their speech. Without further ado, on the motion of this House believes that individuals who actively choose to not take COVID-19 vaccines should be barred from receiving treatment in government hospitals if they contract COVID-19, I shall now call upon the Prime Minister to begin the debate. Here.
Okay, so for my pure eyes, okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. I was just vaccinated a few days ago, and to my luck, nothing severe happened to me, like severe fever, some arm hurt, or any other side effects that happened to thousands of other people who got the vaccine. And to my luck, maybe in the next few days, I won't be affected by COVID-19. However, if I see another individual who are anti-vaxxers and who did not take the vaccine, but if they do get the COVID-19, they still get the same treatment. I feel that is unjustified, and me on the side of opposite on government will prove to you why. But before I start anything, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. I bid to the honorable panel of judges. It is an honor to be debating in front of intellectual alumni from IIUM, not to mention the curious audience, my worthy opponents, and my fellow comrades who are on this mission to eradicate this COVID-19 and bring welfare to all citizens of Malaysia. What am I going to say in my speech? Number one, I'm going to explain to you the definition of this motion at hand, the stance and what we want to fight for in this motion, and the burden of proof, how we can prove to you that the side of government sees the debate, and 2 arguments followed by several analyses. So number one, what does this motion tell you? This motion means that individuals who actively choose not to take the COVID-19 vaccine, basically anti-vaxxers or people who are consenting to not want to take the vaccine itself and from anyone, what does it mean by barring from receiving government hospitals if they contract COVID-19? This means that in the certain instance that these anti-vaxxers receive COVID-19, they will not be receiving the top technologies from government hospitals. Rather, they will have to go to private hospitals, they will have to go to urban hospitals somewhere deep in the urban cities. Therefore, we believe that the top equipment should be reserved for only individuals who have taken the vaccine and who are unfortunately being contracted with COVID-19. So secondly, what's our stance? Our stance is very simple. It's to make a safe environment for all individuals of the country, both anti-vaxxers and the majority of the country, as well as the future generation, for us to eradicate COVID-19 once and for all. So without further ado, no, thank you. Without further ado, my first argument is the choice, the freedom, the choice that the anti-vaxxers pick towards not receiving the vaccine itself. We can't deny it. We can't deny that anti-vaxxers have that certain opinion that they feel that vaccines can create a sort of side effect that is too severe, or maybe it's from the side of religion. Maybe some of the ingredients contain something that is not well to eat. For example, pig or alcohol, something like that. So we can't do anything about it. Because why? Because Dr. Nur Hisham has already told us all the time that the release of vaccine is safe for every citizen of the country. Before I move on to my second argument, yes.
What exactly is your stance, and when are you going to decide that they're not going to get the treatment?
Our stance is to make a safe environment. We want to make the country safe for all individuals, anti-vaxxers, the majority of the citizens, and all that stuff. And if you don't take the treatment, you could just go to the private hospitals or urban hospitals out there. We believe that we have to prioritize the people who did take the vaccine to government hospitals, to the hospitals that has the right equipment, the technology, and to treat it. Moving on to my second argument, which is why it is unjustified towards the people around who did consent to vaccine. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that at the start of the pandemic, people, not only people of Malaysia, but all of the globe were very skeptical about the vaccine, about Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Sinovac, Pfizer, all those vaccines. Therefore, the way that Dr. Nur Hisham has provided and persuaded every single citizen to actually take this vaccine, and then suddenly when they actually consent to taking the vaccine, they receive the side effects that are very severe. Like I've already said in my beginning speech, they receive fever, arm pain, or even hunger, or the side effects are very severe. But in the end, they are immune to COVID-19 and they are safe. They can go anywhere and lockdown is safe. So what happens if we give these anti-vaxxers the same treatment as people who did take vaccine? What will happen is that the mentality of the people who did take the vaccine but do not receive the treatment, it will be changed. They will begin to riot, they will begin to question, and they will begin to not trust the government and not take the vaccine itself. We don't want that. Why? Because we want the government, we want the citizens' trust into the government. No, thank you, sir. I already took your POI. But we want the trust of the citizens towards this government. And if we don't get this trust, how are we going to control the country in order to eradicate COVID-19 itself? We believe that even if the vaccine treatment, people who enter the side effect will be severely affected. Severely affected. The mentality of the citizens will be gone. So later on, my deputy prime minister will explain furthermore on the causes, on the effects of the people who don't get the vaccine and how we can pressure them into receiving the vaccine itself. Therefore, all the citizens inside the country will be safe from the monstrosities of COVID-19. So for me to end the speech, I wanted to ask you a question. Rather, that what if your family has gotten COVID-19? You will obviously want to help them, right? You will obviously want to assist them in any way possible. You wouldn't want them to succumb to the death of COVID-19 since 2018. So I urge you all to take a look at the side of government, the side that wants to push for vaccine to go to all individuals, to all citizens, and hopefully eradicate COVID-19 once and for all. Like a classic quote from Dr. Nur Hisham, until all is safe, none is safe. Thank you very much.
I thank the Prime Minister for his speech. I shall now call upon our Leader of Opposition to deliver his speech. Here.
Hmm. Hello, before that, am I audible? All right, thank you.
Yep.
Let me take my timer for 1 second, yeah? In the world that we live in, there are many popular beliefs amongst other people, meaning to say that in certain people, they believe that taking vaccine is something that's harmful for them. Certain people, they literally can't take vaccines at the end of the day. And people who choose not to take vaccines because their beliefs in something that is very important towards them. Side opposition has come up with a plan for everyone to pursue vaccination, for everyone to get vaccinated in the end of the day. But what they don't understand is that there are plenty of people who choose to not take vaccines because of their beliefs. He even considered the fact that people have certain beliefs from the start of his speech when he stated that, oh, we concede that there are some people who have certain beliefs. He never even counted that certain statement that he had given. In fact, he conceded towards our side, which contradicted their case as a whole. First, let me set up the case inside opposition. Sorry, we believe that people who don't or do get vaccines should be treated in said hospitals, in places where you can actually cure yourself from COVID-19. Secondly, the burden of proof. We talk about in our side, we talk about how our work will have government's work will harmed will be harmed more than side opposition. And secondly, how COVID was there, and finally, how the government's morality as a whole is terrible on their side. What is the image of the world inside opposition? We think that people who don't take the vaccine because they believe not to, because of the rights that they have to believe that they can't take the vaccination because of certain beliefs that you can't force out of them. We believe that in that case where they do get COVID, where they do get infected with COVID-19, they can still get their vaccine. They can still get their treatment from the hospital that they require. And let's look at side government's world, right? They live in a world where people are now guaranteed to get vaccines and are forced to get vaccines. And not only are they forced, they're telling them to pursue that even though it's against their beliefs. And I think that in and of itself is really harmful. First argument, how it's the rights of the people in order to gain this vaccine or not. We have to look in the world that we live in, right? There are multiple religions. There are so many religions to the point where some people don't know certain religions, and certain religions, they have beliefs in which inside a vaccine they have certain products that they cannot be injected in their body. And what do we mean? No, thank you. What do we mean by beliefs in religion, right? It means that this is something that they truly care about. This is something that they have believed since they were young, or even if they're not young, they believe full-heartedly in certain things, meaning to say that you can't just forcefully force that belief out of them. What side government is proceeding and wanting to do is to go to them and go to these people who believe that they can't take vaccines and say to them, hey, bro, you need to take the vaccine now or else you die, and I don't care about your religion. This is something that's really immoral that side government has to offer from the start of their speech. No, thank you. Why is this human rights actually important in the end of the day, right? Because when you are forcefully forcing them to take the vaccine and they don't want to take the vaccine because of the belief, this will cause many problems. For example, it will cause civil unrest. They will start to protest these governments that are forcing these people, which then causes more COVID inside government, causes more contact between people, which then destroys their whole case in the end of the day. Second thing, no, thank you. Second thing that we have to talk about is about how it causes more COVID and makes it an everlasting virus in the end of the day. In the world that we live in, when you are contacted with the virus, it's very easy to get infected. COVID-19 is known to be one of the most infecting viruses in the world, which means COVID is more prevalent in a world where you can't get treated. So why is this true? Because in a world where you cannot get, no thank you, treated, and you get infected, you are being left to the sidelines, not being able to get free from this virus at all. They didn't even give an alternative in which they can secure the virus where they are safe from the virus being infected further on. They tell you that when you don't take the vaccine, you won't even get any treatment whatsoever from the government. And because of that, you inevitably will have a higher chance of dying at the end of the day, because when you don't get when you get infected infected by this virus, vaccines don't work anymore. Thus, you need treatment from the hospital. Opposition might say that since you are causing people to not get treatment who aren't vaccinated, it causes people who are vaccinated getting angry, right? I think in this case, right, we have to talk about the morality of the government. Yes, we argue that in these cases, probably the people who are vaccinated will be framed because will be angry because of how they tried to prevent it in the first place, but they still got the virus, and now the government has no place for them. We don't think, firstly, we have to look in the morality of side government in which they do not let these people who aren't vaccinated to get treatments. These governments are neglecting these people, and we think there's something that immoral, which outweighs what they are trying to say to us. Right. Now, moving on to arguments, right? My final argument, sorry. Look at the morality of the government. In their side of their government, right? They are in their world, they believe that if you do not get vaccinated, you shouldn't be treated in the end of the day. Meaning to say, what they're doing right now is basically letting you get infected by a virus that is totally dangerous, because they have to concede that not everyone will be able to get the vaccine because of their beliefs, etc., right? So now they're literally thank you. They're literally letting these people to the sidelines. They're leaving them for them to actually die in the end of the day. Meaning to say that they're leaving these people suffering from this virus. They're leaving these people to die by the sidelines and catering only to the vaccinated people. This is very immoral. Why? Because firstly, I told you already how they do not care about how these people are vaccinated, right? How these people who are not vaccinated to actually get treatment at the end of the day. And they don't care about them and leave them dying by the sidelines. Thus, what happens after this is that, like I've said just now, people lose trust in the government. People starting to believe that their government is a government that's corrupt, that a government that does not believe, that does not want to help them, that does not want to secure their lives in the end of the day, which then causes people to cause more civil unrest, which causes more protests, which causes more COVID cases to rise in the end of the day. What is the comparison of what they have said to us, right? They talked about a world, an idealistic world where they can simply force a person to get a vaccine and they will go and get it. I believe this is false. Their side government is naive, and side government don't want to cater towards those who are in need. Thank you.
I thank the Leader of Opposition for his speech. I shall now call upon the Deputy Prime Minister to deliver his speech. Here.
Am I audible?
Yep, loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Please give me a minute while I prepare some notes. So I will prefer voice POIs. Now, I will begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, one crucial point of the debate is where opposition decides to humanize these anti-vaxxers by implying that they are people with opinions. Now, I will redirect that question back to opposition by asking, these opinions are actually harmful. Remember, these quote-unquote opinions that you guys have been pushing all this while are opinions that actively threaten public health and threaten to collapse our public healthcare infrastructure. And so at this point, is it even an opinion anymore? Ladies and gentlemen, we believe that this is not an opinion, rather it's just pure ignorance on the side of the anti-vaxxers, on the stakeholders of the anti-vaxxers today. And that's why we believe that through the enforcement of our policies of not offering these anti-vaxxers treatment, this will incentivize them to actually take the vaccine. Because remember, once you have no treatment, this is essentially a life and death situation for them. And thus, this cowardice of death that they have been preaching on and on will reverse incentivize them to take the vaccine. No, please sit down, Mr. Speaker. Now, before I move further into my speech, firstly, I would like to provide rebuttals towards the extremely ignorant, moral-wise ignorant arguments on the opposition side today. Secondly, I would like to provide extensions towards our mechanism today. Thirdly, I would like to state the government's arguments today. And fourthly, I would like to come to a conclusion in this debate. Now, moving on to my rebuttals. They also criticize government morality about what about people dying in the streets of COVID. Again, we have also stated in our mechanism that they will only be part of government treatment. They can still afford private private and non-government treatment, ladies and gentlemen. So essentially, we are not killing these people. We are just restricting them from receiving government services. Again, another pillar of the opposition falls to ashes, ladies and gentlemen. Secondly, they also talked about how certain religions, quote unquote, restrict these people from taking vaccines. Again, we here believe that is just untrue. In fact, take the most closest example, Malaysia and Islam. Some people say that the vaccine has quote unquote pork, which we all know that Muslims cannot consume pork. However, there are certain contents in the Quran that says you are allowed to consume all these quote unquote haram products, or these haram products in moments of disaster. Yes, please.
How would you separate and choose who is an active user?
Please repeat your prayer. I didn't hear you.
How would you separate and choose and decide who is a active user of taking the vaccine?
Active user? Please repeat that.
How will you separate and decide who actively refuses to take the vaccine?
Refuses to take the vaccine. We believe that individuals who refuse to take the vaccine are firstly individuals who willingly do not take the vaccine, and these individuals who are physically capable to take the vaccine. However, they choose to not take the vaccine due to their quote unquote, what you've said in the opposition, their personal beliefs. Now, moving on. They also talked about how more riots cause more COVID. In fact, we aren't even going to use logic in this one. We are going to use real life examples to rebut this logically fallible argument, ladies and gentlemen. Take the US, for example, probably the biggest domain for the anti-vaxxers because it is fueled by Christian fundamentalism and other various factors. In New York, various hospitals, these Christian fundamentalists caused various riots in hospitals in New York City. However, let's look at the US today. The US has a decently stable vaccination program, and it is barely interrupted by these quote-unquote disastrous riots that the opposition has been preaching from their speech today. Ladies and gentlemen, now they also talked about how these people who are infected by viruses cannot be vaccinated, thus it somehow justifies their morality on their side. Again, this is why we believe that prevention is better than cure, because once you cannot contract the vaccine, you are actively safe from it, and this situation will never happen at all. Now, moving on to extensions towards the government side. We believe that the enforcement of policies that bar citizens from getting government treatment actually effectively incentivizes people to take vaccines, because once these people are barred from treatment, they fear death, and thus they proactively take the vaccine. Ladies and gentlemen. Now moving on towards government arguments is that firstly, people who reject the vaccine pose a threat to public health, because remember, each individual who refuses vaccination are effectively preventing herd immunity, and once you prevent herd immunity, you are risking the lives of people who are partially vaccinated, who haven't been vaccinated, and see the herd immunity the herd immunity of the population at general. Ladies and gentlemen, now moving on to my second argument, public health infrastructure is at threat as well, because the US at its peak, the US is also during its peak COVID cases. The US during its peak COVID cases actually experienced some riots in New York City hospitals, where Christian fundamentalists and anti-vaxxers effectively rioted in front of the hospitals, causing their public health infrastructure to break down. And remember, once public health infrastructure breaks down, this effectively causes more deaths, and it prevents treatment given to certain individuals. And from there, the opposition sides quote unquote moral high ground effectively falls, because they've been repeating on and on about how individuals will die in role of government rather than the role of opposition. However, we believe that this is contradictory, and less deaths will occur on government side today. Now, moving on to my conclusion. Effectively, this debate is essentially the utilitarian versus Kantianist problem. However, we believe that we should side with utilitarianism because firstly, we save more lives, and we believe that these opinions are effectively murdering innocent people, and the opposition on the Kantianist side are quote unquote fetishizing, and they are infatuated with the single individuals that refuse to take the vaccines and are willing to sacrifice many lives in order to achieve this Kantianist goal. And with that, we are proud to propose. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Prime Minister, for his speech. To conclude the opening half, I shall now call upon the Deputy Leader of Opposition to deliver his speech. Here.
can hear me, right, everyone?
Yeah.
Mic still on. Okay. Before I begin my speech, sorry, I'm gonna set timers up. Before I begin my speech, a few things first. I'm gonna give out a few arguments. But before that, let me proceed with my rebuttals. First of all, they talked about the moral high ground. I think that my leader of opposition has already talked about this. We tell you that a large majority of these cases where people can't get vaccines also caused because of the fact that people are skeptical of it, because the fact they're victims of fake news. So they think that, so often people think that there are haram things, or there are things that like cannot be taken according to the religions in these vaccines, in these medications. So what happens is that those people, what you're doing is this: you're basically just testing them. You're pitting them against their very religions, and that's very dangerous. But second rebuttal, we tell you that they talked about how they're not really pitting them to death, they're not really giving them an ultimatum. I refuse to believe that. Why? Because the fact that they talked about expensive private treatment. This is very bad, because the fact that the poor can't afford this. The only thing incredibly when you get, especially in the fact that it's in a pandemic where most of this stuff like is getting more expensive. I'll take your PI.
Just now you talked about how our incentive to people vaccinated effectively doesn't work because of private education. Then you also talked about how poor people cannot take this private healthcare. Aren't you?
Excuse me, can you repeat that?
Just now you talked about how our plan to incentivize people by creating an ultimatum for them, and then later you also criticize our mechanism of allowing people to take private healthcare. But then later you also mentioned the problem of poor people not being able to take to get healthcare at private hospitals. Don't you think you're contradicting yourself?
I don't see what you're talking about. You know what? Let's continue. Moving on in my arguments. It's very simple. I have a few arguments. First of all, the duty of government. I think that all governments have one basic secret duty, which is that governments have to protect citizens. So why doesn't it really fulfill that? I will tell you this. First of all, what's the reason why we go to hospitals? To quarantine. And what happens if the people who don't get COVID do that? They don't quarantine. And what happens now? There are people who basically have a psyche where you abandon them, where you're refusing to give them the medication they need. Those people now do whatever they want, and they'll go out and they'll spread COVID. Yay! Secondly, we also tell you that the fact is that now that you're presenting their healthcare, you're basically giving them an ultimatum. You're saying that either take healthcare, either abandon your principles of religion, of which you have based and risk your life upon, of which you have told yourself in order to avoid getting this vaccine. We tell you that this is very dangerous, because the fact that now you're avoiding these people who don't really have a choice, who really just want to achieve whatever the religion avoids. You're preventing them from getting what they want. I'll take a PI now.
You remember, taking the vaccine isn't disavowing your religion. You aren't turning atheist just because you take a vaccine.
Okay, I think that's true. You can't say that. But the fact is that those people who do take the vaccines, who don't take the religions, they're either, one, uninformed, or two, they don't believe the information. So this is very dangerous. I'd say that a lot of the people who don't get the vaccine are really just normal people. I can't really condone what the side government said about how those people aren't really human, about how humanizing them is bad. I think it's a good thing that we're doing that, because the fact that those people who don't get the vaccine, they do it because the fake news was rampantly being spread around media. Fake news like vaccines spreading, people who take vaccines get autism, or things like the vaccine saying that there's pork, or there's something, or like there's even something that's forbidden in Christian or Hindu religion. That's something that's very important, something that we have to acknowledge here. Secondly, so let me elaborate more on what happened if this happens. So earlier, you talked about how riots and protests are going to happen on their side. We don't really believe this. Why? Because imagine the psyche of a person who just got rejected because of the fact that he didn't believe it, or because of the fact that he didn't really get his medication. So yeah, but before I continue that, let's get one thing clear. Earlier, I asked them this question. I asked them, how you separate people who want to get people who actively refuse to take COVID vaccine? They didn't really respond to that. What do I mean by that? I mean that there are what about cases where they don't get the messages that they need? Because there are cases and actual cases, of course, they want cases, like in the US, where you don't get the mail, you get the letters, vaccine. They lose the mail, those things happen. So what happens if those people don't get the vaccine? What happens is that you're subjecting the very people you're trying to protect to those despicable horrors of being abandoned by the government. Yeah, so moving on, let me continue. So the psyche of the person, the fact is the government has abandoned them. So now the fact is those people who have nothing to lose are more likely to just do whatever they want. They're more likely to just go out and disobey government rules. Because why? You don't need to obey the government. Because the government doesn't believe in them. Government just abandoned them in the first place. Yeah. So now you're letting those risky people who are very angry and vulnerable out because they have to face death. And lastly, and before that, no, I won't take a PR, sorry. Before that, secondly, let's talk about the families people. We also tell you that not only will the psyche of the person affected, we also tell you that the families and the people friends who know that, who had the people rejected, who had the friends and family of the people who were rejected, what more likely happen is that now more protests and more civil unrest is going to happen. So now cooperation is going to dwindle. Cooperation that's very important during the COVID pandemic because of the fact that they have seen that the government is willing to abandon its citizens. Government is willing to force its citizens to do something. So it's very scary to them now. And this is something that's very hard. Why? First of all, we tell you that not only are they sentencing the innocent to die, you're also scaring people. Why is that bad? Why? Because now that you have shown this, it reduces the government's trust. It reduces it. And what happens is that they'll now be like more likely to commit anti-government acts because the fact this happened. And this is bad because the fact that now there are more riots, more protests, and more of these COVID-19 cases around this. So before I continue a comparison here, more deaths. So the time's already over, sorry. Before this, the comparison. So more deaths going to happen on their side. We already proved that more protests are going to happen on our side, on their side. And secondly, we also tell you that we have won the moral case. Why? Because the fact that, comparatively comparative to their case, we have proven to you that there will be more deaths, including the very people who didn't refuse it, because the fact that now more protests is going to happen and more COVID cases are going to spread. So we have proven to you that morally speaking, you'll be subjecting not only them but the people around them with second-hand COVID infections. With that, I end my speech. So proud to propose. Oppose.
All right. I thank the Deputy Leader of Opposition for his speech. I would just like to remind all of the speakers that no POI will be given permission after 6 minutes. And beware on the chat box because the time will pop up. So just aware of it. And to initiate the closing half, I shall now call upon the Member of Government to deliver his speech. Here.
All right. Beginning my speech in three. Beginning my speech in 3, 2, 1. The idea of opposition side is completely false. All their points about morality, the idea that it's immoral to force people to get vaccines. I mean, it's not immoral to force people to get vaccines because why? Moving on to my rebuttals. Number one, LO's whole speech is about immoral. How vaccine is immoral. How vaccine is immoral. How you force people to get vaccine is immoral. How there's belief that there are religions in the world that actually does not allow people to get vaccines. I mean, answer yourself this. This is completely not true because their side is proposing that people's point of view is more important than people's life. I mean, what is more important? People's lives or people's beliefs or their point of views? Their lives are catering to beliefs and conspiracy theories on the idea that vaccine creates this harmful environment. I mean, it's actually ridiculous. No, thank you. So ask yourself this: death of innocent people who die is more important than your own beliefs. And when you choose not to have vaccines, you indirectly kill people. You indirectly make more harmful to the society and also to those who actually gets vaccine in the first place. All right, now moving on. All right, now the second level of rebuttal is: can you give me an example of what religion actually bans vaccines? I mean, there's no such religion that actually bans vaccine in the
Do I
first place.
please?
Majority of religions, for example, Islam or Christianity or even atheists, allow vaccines to be implemented into the people. I mean, you can't give a concrete no, thank you, a concrete results of why they can prove this. Now, we wanted the second rebuttal, which is freedom of choice. They explain that they have freedom of choice. This is completely not true, because our side also have freedom of choice. Freedom of choice exists because it does not affect other people. I mean, for example, you can choose whether you want to go to that restaurant or this restaurant. You can choose whether you want to go to McDonald's or KFC. It's perfectly fine. Even if, let's say, right, to pursue a unhealthy lifestyle, or you eat at McDonald's every day, that's completely fine, because it does not affect other people. But in the case of this debate, your freedom of choice, specifically in this motion, the right to choose overlap with the life of the people. The right to choose actually makes people die, actually makes harm towards the people, which is really ridiculous on their case, on how morality, on how freedom of choice. Now, moving on to the observation of opening government. Opening government talks about how justification, all that, but they don't give a concrete analysis or an outcome that actually is relevant to this debate. Now, moving on to my extension, which actually have a concrete outcome, we actually have an analysis about the principal argumentation. When you try, no, thank you, because when you're trying to argue this debate, firstly, you must ask yourself: is it right for government to actually implement this motion, this mechanism in the first place? It's actually justified because, number one, it's the government's duty. Government have a duty towards the people, towards the civilians, to help the civilians, to help them overcome the pandemic, or in this case, to help them overcome the freedom of choice, help overcome COVID-19. Now, they promote this. They promote vaccination. They urge people to take it. It's even free for the immigrants and also for the people. It's free, and they urge people to do it. Now, the second reason is, if they don't take it, if the anti-vaccination don't take it, they cause harm to the people, to the society. That means you gamble with people's lives. You gamble with people's life. You don't take vaccines. Therefore, just to respect your own values, your own views, which is even moral, is it, or isn't even right in the first place. You take that harm away from them. You take the privilege away from them. And you gamble of people's life. And the third reason is, resources are limited, and we need to prioritize. The government needs to prioritize. There's no denying. Therefore, we have to prioritize those who actually compromise with the government, who actually listens to the government, who actually get vaccines in the first place, and who actually listens to the local community to take the vaccine rather than those who don't. That's why it is perfectly justified for us to do this in the first place. And the same concept applies in laws. I mean, if you break the laws, you get the repercussions. You get the repercussions. You get the effects, right? It's the same with this. If you don't take the vaccines, you harm people. Therefore, you get the repercussions from not taking the vaccines in the first place. That's why it is perfectly justified for us to do this. No, thank you. Now, moving on to the practical argumentation. The burden of proof we want to prove in our motion, in our debate here, in my speech here, is there are other people who actually deserves the treatment more than the anti-vaccination people. Why? Because hospitals are filled with patients, especially in times of crisis, where hospitals prioritize COVID-19 patients in the first place. This means that they don't want it to spread to other people. And in times of crisis, people need the treatment more than ever. And the second reason is, rooms in hospitals and supplies in hospitals are extremely limited. That means only a small percentage who aren't COVID-19 patients will get no more treatments in the first place, because they prioritize COVID-19 patients in the first place. And now, what are harms of this? Only COVID patients get the treatment. No more people cannot get the treatment, or they get less treatments or whatever. And it is worse on the opposition side, because when these people, the anti-vaccine, eventually get infected, people go to the hospital, and they indirectly take the places of those who really need it in the first place, those who aren't COVID-19 patients, those who are diagnosed with cancer, with chronic diseases, those who actually can die in the first place. This means that they are taking the privileges. You're killing people. You have higher risk to those who actually need these treatments. You indirectly kill people who have been waiting for so long to get this treatment, or waiting for so long for a doctor to save their lives. They are actually killing them. They are taking their placement, taking their privileges. Whereas on government side, we actually encourage them to get vaccines so they don't get infected in the first place, so that people don't die indirectly from their actions. Therefore, on government side, on closing government side, we're the actual ones that actually answer the most and the main issues in this debate. Therefore, for all these reasons, proud to propose.
Thank you very much, Member of Government, for his speech. I shall now call upon the Member of Opposition to deliver his speech. Is he here?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep,
I'm using
loud
my
and
phone right
clear.
now because my computer disconnected. I'm on data because my Wi-Fi cut out.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, that's great. I can't open my camera either, so let me get a stopwatch. Take your eyes verbally. I don't read the chat, so just turn on your mic and hopefully I'll respond to you. If I don't, just try again another 30 seconds. All right. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Honorable adjudicators, I think it's important for us to realize the state of the nation that we're currently living in like these times of crisis, right? Because realize that everybody in this state is currently being put into a place where they cannot survive normally, cannot live properly because of the pandemic that's currently going on, right? It's important for us to realize that the people's judgments on people's opinions in this crisis is heavily being influenced by the crisis itself, and that's an important topic that we need to deal with. All my responses will be integrated into my arguments. But let's first talk about principled obligations and like moral obligations debate is in general, right? The reason this is important as like a principal argument is that it's not based on any like future tangible outcomes, rather based on the principle itself. Opening opposition talked about the principle a bit in their first speaker, but I'm going to extend on it more in analysis and ground that principle argument further, right? So the first is the moral obligation for states to protect their people, right? First is the failure of state to prevent the spread of the virus in that country itself, right? When governments neglect towards their people to provide a secure environment for the citizens to live in, it's because of the fact that states were elected to protect these individuals in the first place, no matter what their beliefs are about the vaccine or whatever help they need to receive. There's this state's active duty to protect these individuals in the first place. Secondly is the principle of theft, right? When you take money from taxpayers' wallets and tell them that you'll get equal benefits from individuals such as healthcare, such as being able to access a hospital bed paid for by the government by your money yourself, when you take that right away from them, you're essentially taking away the money that they paid into at that moment, and we think that's immoral. Thirdly is the information and the government judgment that happens. Thank you in times of crisis, right? This is responding to the whole argument of how this active choice hurts other people at the end of the day, and thus they shouldn't be able to get this treatment. Because realize that these individuals who don't take these vaccines, as correctly pointed out by opening opposition, do so because of reasons that can't really be gauged by other factors, right? It means that they take it because their religion, they don't take them because their religion doesn't want, or they're given information by people they trust and don't trust the government on what exactly this vaccine contains or why, or if it's actually beneficial towards you or is not dangerous to you. It's because of this clouded judgment and not their active choice or their judgment that allows them to choose this vaccine properly, that they are unable to make this decision properly for themselves and should be able to receive the treatment even though they don't take the vaccine at the end of the day, right? So TLDR for this point is that it's not the fault of their victims. They're victims of circumstance at the end of the day, and they should receive equal rights to medicine and hospital beds at the end of the day. So how do we ground this principle out? Right? Firstly, let's talk about the distrust in the government, right? When you have this distrust in the government, you are less likely going to be able to take this vaccine at the end of the day, right? At least on the side of opposition, when you are able to trust the government, when governments actually give you what they've been entrusted to give you in the first place, that is medicine and hospital beds and care in government hospitals, you are actually able to convince these individuals, even if it's a slight chance, and most individuals won't actually like buy into like the vaccine at the end of the day, it's still a higher chance that than whatever side of government will ever be able to get under their house, right? Because realize that depending on governments during crisis, it's so important, right? Because in crisis, there's no real other person that you are able to rely on. It's the people on higher ups of like your parliaments or your governments that are given information by the by health societies, thank you, that are able to help you get out of this, right? Because they control the healthcare system, they control the economy, they control how people's lives work, they make the policies for that state at the end of the day. If you're not able to cooperate with these individuals, and this is extension exclusive to side of closing opposition, you're not able to overcome this pandemic at the end of the day, right? Because people aren't going to cooperate with you, people don't want to listen to you at the end of the day. You're not going to get the herd immunity that side of opening government wants to talk about so much at the end of the day. Next is the riots and protesting on streets, which makes those streets less safe, especially for individuals that actually want to take the vaccine and don't have anything to do with the anti-vaxxers at the end of the day, right? This state of crisis hurts even more individuals when you're not allowing these individuals who don't want to take the vaccine to get into healthcare places like hospitals and clinics to get this help, or like quarantine themselves here, and instead put them into streets in where they're more likely to infect more people that have nothing to do with the problem, right? The importance of this argument is to show you that it's important for us to like prevent these individuals from hurting other people, and that's exactly what they aren't able to do on the side of government. So next is, I'm going to talk about how you're harming the lowest common denominator in that state or society, right? But why exactly is this individual the most vulnerable? No, thank you. Because this individual can't afford the private healthcare because they've had their money taken by the state when the state promised them to give them this healthcare towards them, even though they didn't get it at the end of the day before that, sure.
Just now you talked about about taxpayer money and how governments enforcing this policy are effectively, stripping these people of rights. However, don't you think that these individuals who refuse to get vaccinated are actively violating Aristotle's social contract? And thus, once they passively engage other people's lives and violate social contracts, they really don't deserve any rights from the government.
This is the point in which our analysis on how the information on crowded judgment that couldn't be stopped by the state, right? Where state failed to provide the information or the education to learn that these things aren't correct, to make the better decision to take that vaccine is so important, right? Because realize that it isn't really their fault. They're victims of the circumstances that put them in those in those situations in the first place, right? Because they didn't know better. Because their religion that they were born into didn't allow them to take this substance that they were lied to by some other source that the government didn't want to stop because of their neglect, that they didn't want to take the vaccine at the end of the day. I think that POI is answered, right? But let's move on to why exactly this individual is the most vulnerable, right? Because they're blinded by society and they can't afford that healthcare, right? It means that this individual who is dying on the streets can't afford private healthcare, is not being able to be helped by this government. The government does not care about him, right? Because realize that this government only cares about the individuals who are perfect, right? The individuals who got the help, the people who were informed, right? You're limiting the access towards individuals at the end of the day. At the end of the day, your state has more harm in it. The degree of harm that will be explained by my whip will ultimately prove to you why closing opposition takes this debate.
All right, I thank the member of opposition for the speech. To conclude the case coming from the closing government, I shall now call upon the government whip to deliver his speech. Here.
All right, first of all, I'm audible?
Yep, loud and clear.
All right. I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. At the end of the day, I think both sides could agree that we are talking about choice or death. I think clearly, based on what side of opposition is talking about, in which way they're talking about religion, they're talking about the freedom of choice, they're talking that we are immoral, that we are forcing them to take vaccines. What my member has told you is everything which he told you about principle at the end of the day. So before we move on into what is my content with my speech, I will have number one,
the comparative between both sides, how clearly closing government takes today's win. Number two, the issues and clashes in this debate, and how clearly closing government takes today's win. Okay, moving into the comparative. All right, so let's take a look into opening opposition, in which we are there claiming that they are on our side. We remove the rights of the people, we remove the human rights, we remove them from getting getting able to choose whatever they want, which is clearly not true. So they also claim in which we think this is not true. So because they stated in which some religion doesn't give that don't allow getting vaccines. I think this is clear and true. So because they didn't state any religion in which they cannot take the vaccine. Even like we could say the religion in the world globally, every single religion is allowed to take a vaccine. And I think that the whole case coming from side of opposition clearly false. No, thank you. Number two, in which they're saying in principle, in which it's immoral to take the right of the people, which is clearly untrue. Why so? Because you need to remember the deaths of innocent people who are already waited for like 2 years to get the vaccine, and now they are everyone who is we could say who takes the vaccine because they know that this is you are trying to get herd immunity. From herd immunity, now economy and now our country will become much more better compared to your side. In which your side, you're claiming that you are going to give them the freedom of choice. You are claiming. We on our side, we also have that. We let them choose whatever they want. But at the end of the day, our side, we will restrict them from going to government hospitals. We will restrict them from giving the healthcare that other people wanted because they didn't want to sacrifice themselves to get vaccinated because they are willing to, we could say, gamble on their life and others people's life at the end of the day. What my member told you is that at the end of the day, you need to remember. No, thank you. At the end of the day, you need to remember that today's debate, we are focusing either we should give them the rights to go to hospital or not. I think on side of opposition, which are they're claiming, which are because of the religion, it all falls because they didn't give us a further analysis. They didn't give us enough proof on how clearly they should get this treatment from government hospitals even though they don't get the vaccines. Like what my member told you, which we want the commitment we want the cooperation coming from our citizens, and at the end of the day, we will give them what they want. Okay, so moving into the second comparative, which we are side of opposition claiming that the second rebuttal in which they stated that in which religion is the number one, because it's the number one barrier from them getting vaccines. We think that's really untrue. So because at the end of the day, promotion about not getting vaccines, how vaccines are dangerous at all, it's all about conspiracy. There's no proof on how this could really affect. At the end of the day, on you saying that on our side we have much more protests, we think that this is clearly untrue. Why so? Because anti-vaxxers who are more likely to be conservative. This means that they are more like to not go to protest. At the end of the day, the worst case scenario is that they're going to forward WhatsApp messages. They're going to forward images on how like they're claiming that in our vaccines we have microchips and all, and we can become zombies at the end of the day. So before I move on, POI.
Evan, do you concede that like fake news is possible? And secondly, if can you really say that the government has freedom of choice? And when you're forcing them to pick between their religion and their life?
Okay, do realize that on side of government, we do not force them completely. We're just saying to them, if you want to receive healthcare, just go take the vaccine. You need that commitment because you need to realize there's a lot of people who also committed things that they don't want. For example, like they don't like we could say inserting stuff into their body. We know that a lot of people sacrifice their life just because they don't want to harm others. You need to realize in this debate, which if you are going to pursue the way that you are going to like let them individual choices, we think that will lead to much more harms at the end of the day, because we need to remember that because you are the one person who doesn't want to get the vaccine, if you get infected by COVID, other people could get infected other people could also get infected, and this will lead to much more bigger harms. And also you need to understand that from closing opposition, from closing government, we told you in which how this is principally unjustified, because you need to remember at the end of the day, it's not about you yourself, it's about everyone, it's about the community, it's about how you could affect other people. All right, so let's take a look into why side of closing government is better compared to opening government. We told you three principal arguments. Number one, we told you how your side, you are gambling on other people's life. Number two, we told you how resources are clearly limited. So if you want to get, if you take the vaccine and you, like, for example, you have any problems with in terms of healthcare, you can go to our hospitals because because the resources are limited. To those who do not cooperate with us, to those who doesn't want to follow the government's way, who doesn't want to go the government's way, they do not get the things that other people who give cooperation get. And the third principle, in which where the government already promotes everything, the government told you everything that it will not affect religion, it will not affect anything. But at the end of the day, these people choose because they believe in theories, they believe in conspiracies. And we think that at the end of the day, your side imposes much more harm compared to side of government. Okay, let's analyze the issues and clash in this debate and how clearly side of closing government takes the win. Let's take a look into the first issue, which where should we focus on individual beliefs or death, or we could say our lives at the end of the day. This clearly shows to you that we should focus more on our life at the end of the day, because you need to understand that in terms of, we could say, in terms of health, you need to understand that everyone will make their health the number one priority above every single thing. So we need to, so at the end of the day, on our side, which where we focus more, we make them, if they want to get healthcare, they need to go get vaccinated. We want just cooperation from them, because you need to understand, if you do not get vaccinated, it will really affect the economy. It will really affect a lot of things. There will be like a chain effect, in which way, if you, these anti-vaxxers are the ones who make the country, we could say, much more corrupted. Because you need to understand, at the end of the day, the thing that we are going to do here is important. Because take a look, for example, lockdown. No one likes sick. No one wants to be in lockdown. But at the end of the day, this is the only measure that we can do to make sure that everyone is safe. And with that, never been publicly proposed. Thank you.
I thank the government whip for his speech to conclude the case coming from our closing government, and hence ending the debate for today. I shall now call upon the opposition whip to deliver his speech. Here.
Hello, am I audible?
Yep, loud and clear.
Give me a second. I don't have the background because I joined the group late, but I think it's okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that the suffering that people who got COVID-19 suffers, each second feel like a living hell? We wish they could just take their life away and end that suffering quickly. Do you know why all this happened in the first place? It's because government failed to control the pandemic. It is the failure to make sure a safe environment for these individuals. And because government fail, I think it is unjust that this government is going to track people who didn't take vaccine by barring them from getting COVID-19 treatment from public hospitals. I think this is extremely unjust and a nonsensical ideas. In my speech, a few responses towards the side of government bench. The thing is, so first responses, I think forcing people to give vaccine is very unjust. You see, all you said about protecting the environment, you never protect the environment. First of all, you failed to control the pandemic in the first place. You dare to claim how you wanted to protect them by giving this, by creating this safe environment, which we don't really know how it's because they didn't really mechanize and tell us the process why it's going to create anxiety for the people in the first place. And then another thing I find very ridiculous is they expect poor individual who cannot get the money to afford private hospital bills, which they can't. And they will just lead them to die miserably on the streets. And realize that some certain people action, those anti-vaxxers, is not because they didn't become anti-vax because they are selfish or because they want people to die. No, it's because of factors of religious belief and factors where they cannot people in their family, people in their relative telling how vaccine is bad for them and how there's a certain substance in the vaccine that is bad for them. I think my members of opposition has really clearly defined why people's belief is important in this context. Now, I think the point of people dying on miserably on the street ties back to the civil unrest that that the argument provided by the opening opposition, because when there's more riots, there's going to be higher cases, thus the backlash that I said. And then another rebuttals is the side of government is very contradictory, right? They talk about how murdering people is bad because when you don't take vaccine, you indirectly cause other people's death. But realize that they're willing to kill anti-vax who cannot get treatment because they're willing from the streets.
Yeah,
so are they disregarding this human as an individual itself? I'll take your point later. Another point that I find ridiculous is how closing government refuse to ignore to accept people's perspective of view, because I think it's really dumb how they think that religion does not matter, and they talk about how there's no such thing in religion that prevents people doesn't allow people to get vaccine. The thing is, of course, there's no really a statement in the Quran or in the Bible of how do not take vaccine. But there's a multiple belief on that religion itself, like mazhab in Islam, for example. And those belief is what side of opposition has been constantly pressing on you on the government bench. The thing is, this belief is important because people treat their religion first before their life, right? Because religion is their way of living. And realize that under the pillar of democracy itself, when you choose to become a citizen, you have the right to choose what you believe and what religion you want to practice. You really don't have the choice, or because of this decision that people are dying. And the thing is, this isn't really that much of the impact harm compared to the harms that you're going to happen on your side of the world. I think it's extremely laughable also that people, they don't treat anti-vax as an innocent human. So before that, I'll take your point.
We understand the side of government opts for a world where people do have the rights. But do you think that, are you willing to endanger the lives of the people around you just because of the opinions of that one specific civilian?
Okay, so this is where I come to the most important part in my speech. The harms, okay? They talk about how is this very harmful under the other side of the world. They never talk, they don't really realize the harms that's going to happen under the other side of the world, for instance, right? Let's say, so this is something new that under our side of opposition, and how my members of opposition has really continuously pressed on this. It's about the degree of harm that is enacted on the people and the government is way higher compared to our side of the world. Realize that the individuals in opposition who don't take vaccine, who cannot receive treatment, for example, hospitals, beds, and medication, they will just die miserably on the streets. Compared to the individuals on the outside of the world who don't take vaccine, but they still get treatment and they won't die. Basically, they won't die. Compared to your side of the world, people will just die. The thing is, let's just compare how people die. Okay? The thing is, in government, people die directly because you indirectly causing these poor individuals who cannot afford to pay private hospital bills. I'll take your point later. Private hospital bills dying because they cannot get treatment for vaccine, right? The thing is, under your side of the world, the harm of letting thousands of people die is way higher, because realize that this anti-vax is not a number of 1 people to 2 people or 3 people. It's a large amount of 1,000 to 2,000. And let's say around these 2,000, only 70 to 80% of them are poor or average individual who don't have the money to pay for private hospital bills. These people are just going to die. That's the thing. They will die. But compared to outside of the world, the thing is, people who get treatment, they will still get treatment under our side, right? Because realize that you letting people die won't benefit anyone. And another thing I want to note is it really strategic to force people to take vaccine? You think anti-vax is going to take vaccine because you force them not to take vaccine? I don't think that's really the case here. The case is just you making the world way it's very going to make it very problematic. People going to die, and people is just people die now. And the thing is, in vaccine, in people who don't take vaccine in government, it's just that it's going to cause a civil unrest, and just people is going to hate government even more. So So why we win over government, opening government? Because they really never impacted their argument. They just tell you how we forcing them to take vaccine in order to protect lives, but they really mechanize how are they going to protect their life. They really tell us how does it work, how sure are they that this anti-vax is going to take the vaccine because of those reasons. And we instead we prove to you why the harm exists on the outside of the world, and how is it more harmful, and how the degree of harm is just way higher under your side of the world. And this under our side of the world, the thing is, we don't know whether the people die or not, right? Because we need to wait. We don't know whether the people are going to die, because we don't really know how this anti-vax is going to cause other people around them to get COVID-19, right? So how do we differ from opening opposition? It's because we give more multiple layer of analysis. We prove to you why is it unstrategic, forcing people to. I think I've overtime. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You should conclude.
With that, I'm proudly to oppose. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, our opposition week, for that fine speech. Hence, that marks the end of our grand finals debate. Please virtually cross floor and shake hands between yourself. Now, the organizing committee members will be directing all of the adjudicators to a breakout room where they will deliberate accordingly and come to a decision as to whom will be the much-awaited champion of IIUM Road to Success League of Champions 2021. Please allow them some time in carefully discuss and decide. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank the adjudicators for their assistance and kindly sparing their time and energy to become our judges today. Additionally, I would also like to congratulate all the debaters on their performance and for making it thus far. I shall now pass the floor back to the MC of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Speaker Fatin Alicia. And that was once again the final round of IIUM Road to Success League of Champions Debating Championship 2021. A round of virtual applause to all the finalists. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be taking a break to give room for our honorable judges to deliberate and to allow our finalists to take a breather. Please stay tuned as we will then move on to the main event, the closing ceremony, real soon. Feel free to make yourself comfortable, and in the meantime, we will see you later. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Program Baiti Janati yang bermaksud Rumahku Syurgaku merupakan salah satu inisiatif tanggungjawab korporat Amal Bank Islam bersama rakan strategik Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur DBKL dalam membantu golongan asnaf atau kurang berkemampuan yang tinggal di kawasan perumahan di bawah skim Projek Perumahan Rakyat PPR DBKL di sekitar wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur untuk memenuhi impian mereka memiliki rumah sendiri.
Saya Roziana binti Abdul Rahman. Perasaan bermulanya saya macam tak percayalah sebab tak ada apa-apa information daripada mana-mana pihak kan. Lepas tu bila saya dapat tahu ada kontraktor tu call saya untuk renovate rumah lah. Lepas tu saya tanya dengan kontraktor tu, dia kata daripada DBKL dan Bank Islam lah.
Memang tak percaya rasa betul ke? Pernah kat makcik bangun tidur, aku mimpi ke? Orang cakap betul ke macam mimpi ke? Orang cakap betul ke? Betul ke? Cakap tanya anak tu, tunggulah Mi, dia kata, tunggu ada dia punya surat ke apa kan? Ini betul kan ni? Kita dapat ni. Selama ni kita berangan aja. Berangan kan nak buat rumah sendiri kan? Punya betul. Saya suka sangat tu.
lah kerana terpilih lah dapat rumah kan. Memang orang kata tak jangka lah nak dapat macam ni kan. Syukur Alhamdulillah lah.
Islam telah memperuntukkan sebanyak 1,000 tablet untuk kita serahkan kepada pelajar-pelajar yang terkesan oleh COVID dan terutamanya sebelum ini yang memerlukan peranti untuk mereka menghadiri kelas ataupun pelajaran secara online sebelum ini. Jadi 1,000 tablet itu peruntukannya sejumlah RM600,000 melalui kita punya beberapa inisiatif kita, Sedekah House, Amal kita dan sebagainya untuk diedarkan kepada pelajar-pelajar di seluruh negara.
Terima kasih kepada Bank Islam kerana sudi menyumbangkan tablet.
Saya gembira sebab dapat tablet untuk dimanfaatkan. Terima kasih kepada Bank Islam untuk menyumbangkan tablet ni kepada anak saya.
Jadi melalui inisiatif ini, Pakcik harap agar anak-anak semua akan belajar rajin-rajin dan mendapat keputusan yang terbaik dalam peperiksaan nanti.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يمحق الله الربا ويربي الصدقات.
Imagine a society living a harmonious life where wealth is channeled to the needy to help improve their livelihoods. You can also play a role by donating to Sadaqah House Bank Islam. Sadaqah House is a donation platform managed by Bank Islam. An entity or individual may use the digital platform and other channels provided to give funding to non-governmental organizations that are strategic partners of Sadaqah House. It is an effort to create a positive impact on the economy and community. With the proceeds raised, Sadaqah House Bank Islam focuses on projects under several categories. Health, financing medical expenses. Educational, financing educational projects. Community, enhancing community economic activity. Environment, preserving the environment. So, if you would like to be a part of this charitable cause, please channel your donation to the official Sadaqah House Bank Islam account through various donation platforms. Fund transfer, Bank Islam Credit Card I, through True Rewards Points Redemption or scheduled payments. Scan, snap and pay QR code. Through your contribution, together, we can improve the livelihood of those in need, as well as creating a harmonious society. For more information, visit www.sadakahouse.com.my.
We are a place of accomplishments. From humble beginnings, we have broken barriers and records. From the rawness of basic knowledge, we have instilled values. Values that inculcate the blossoming of minds and the bestowing of virtue. Our accomplishments have touched the lives of so many. For indeed, our infusing of virtue with knowledge has been the key to our success. Why are we always striving? Why do we keep pushing the boundaries? Why do we constantly try to bring out the best in each of us? Because here, no matter where you're from, you are accorded the same right to succeed. We want them to build a better future, where good is not just created, but sustained. We stand for excellence in our students, shaping their values and developing the world. We strive for inspiration in our graduates, inspiring their dreams into reality. We want to go beyond the imaginable and bring out virtue beyond any barriers. To improve the quality of life everywhere, physically and spiritually. IIUM provides the best conducive learning environment for all students, offering a wide variety of amenities in the pursuit of knowledge. Opening avenues to reach the furthest realms of enlightenment. The International Islamic University of Malaysia. The garden of knowledge and virtue.
We make the world a better place forever. Expand the culture of Iqra. IUM is to realize the meaning of mercy to all worlds for mankind.
Islam telah memperuntukkan sebanyak 1,000 tablet untuk kita serahkan kepada pelajar-pelajar yang terkesan oleh COVID dan terutamanya sebelum ini yang memerlukan peranti untuk mereka menghadiri kelas ataupun pelajaran secara online sebelum ini. Jadi 1,000 tablet itu peruntukannya sejumlah RM600,000 melalui kita punya beberapa inisiatif kita, Sedekah House, Amal kita dan sebagainya untuk diedarkan kepada pelajar-pelajar di seluruh negara.
Terima kasih kepada Bank Islam kerana sudi menyumbangkan tablet.
Saya gembira sebab dapat tablet untuk dimanfaatkan. Terima kasih kepada Bank Islam untuk menyumbangkan tablet ni kepada anak saya.
Jadi melalui inisiatif ini, Pakcik harap agar anak-anak semua akan belajar rajin-rajin dan mendapat keputusan yang terbaik dalam peperiksaan nanti.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يمحق الله الربا ويربي الصدقات.
Imagine a society living a harmonious life, where wealth is channeled to the needy to help improve their livelihoods. You can also play a role by donating to Sadaqah House Bank Islam. Sadaqah House is a donation platform managed by Bank Islam. An entity or individual may use the digital platform and other channels provided to give funding to non-governmental organizations that are strategic partners of Sadaqah House. It is an effort to create a positive impact on the economy and community. With the proceeds raised, Sadaqah House Bank Islam focuses on projects under several categories: health, financing medical expenses; educational, financing educational projects; community, enhancing community economic activity; environment, preserving the environment. So, if you would like to be a part of this charitable cause, please channel your donation to the official Sadaqah House Bank Islam account through various donation platforms: Fund Transfer, Bank Islam Credit Card I, through True Rewards Points Redemption or Scheduled Payments, Scan, Snap and Pay QR Code. Through your contribution, together, we can improve the livelihood of those in need, as well as creating a harmonious society. For more information, visit www.sadaqahhouse.com.my.
are a place of accomplishments. From humble beginnings, we have broken barriers and records. From the rawness of basic knowledge, we have instilled values. Values that inculcate the blossoming of minds and the bestowing of virtue. Our accomplishments have touched the lives of so many. For indeed, our infusing of virtue with knowledge has been the key to our success. Why are we always striving? Why do we keep pushing the boundaries? Why do we constantly try to bring out the best in each of us? Because here, no matter where you're from, you are accorded the same right to succeed. We want them to build a better future, where good is not just created, but sustained. We stand for excellence in our students, shaping their values and developing the world. We strive for inspiration in our graduates, inspiring their dreams into reality. We want to go beyond the imaginable and bring out virtue beyond any barriers. To improve the quality of life everywhere, physically and spiritually. IIUM provides the best conducive learning environment for all students, offering a wide variety of amenities in the pursuit of knowledge. Opening avenues to reach the furthest realms of enlightenment. The International Islamic University of Malaysia. The garden of knowledge and virtue.
We make the world a better place forever. Expand the culture of Iqra. IUM is to realize the meaning of mercy to all worlds for mankind.
Islam telah memperuntukkan sebanyak 1,000 tablet untuk kita serahkan kepada pelajar-pelajar yang terkesan oleh COVID dan terutamanya sebelum ini yang memerlukan peranti untuk mereka menghadiri kelas ataupun pelajaran secara online sebelum ini. Jadi 1,000 tablet itu peruntukannya sejumlah RM600,000 melalui kita punya beberapa inisiatif kita, Sedekah House, amal kita dan sebagainya untuk diedarkan kepada pelajar-pelajar di seluruh negara.
kasih kepada Bank Islam kerana sudi menyumbangkan tablet.
Saya gembira sebab dapat tablet untuk dimanfaatkan. Terima kasih kepada Bank Islam untuk menyumbangkan tablet ni kepada anak saya.
Jadi melalui inisiatif ini, Pakcik harap agar anak-anak semua akan belajar rajin-rajin dan mendapat keputusan yang terbaik dalam peperiksaan nanti.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يمحق الله الربا ويربي الصدقات.
Imagine a society living a harmonious life, where wealth is channeled to the needy to help improve their livelihoods. You can also play a role by donating to Sadaqah House Bank Islam. Sadaqah House is a donation platform managed by Bank Islam. An entity or individual may use the digital platform and other channels provided to give funding to non-governmental organizations that are strategic partners of Sadaqah House. It is an effort to create a positive impact on the economy and community. With the proceeds raised, Sadaqah House Bank Islam focuses on projects under several categories: health, financing medical expenses; educational, financing educational projects; community, enhancing community economic activity; environment, preserving the environment. So, if you would like to be a part of this charitable cause, please channel your donation to the official Sadaqah House Bank Islam account through various donation platforms: Fund Transfer, Bank Islam Credit Card I, through True Rewards Points Redemption or Scheduled Payments, Scan, Snap and Pay QR Code. Through your contribution, together, we can improve the livelihood of those in need, as well as creating a harmonious society. For more information, visit www.sadaqahhouse.com.my.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome to all audience. Welcome to the closing ceremony of IIUM Road to Success 2021. We will begin our agenda real soon. Therefore, I would like to remind the participants of the call to ensure that your mic is muted at all times to avoid any disruptions throughout the event. Don't forget to snap and shoot any moments pertaining to our closing ceremony and tag us on our Instagram at roadtosuccess.iium. We will begin real soon.
are a place of accomplishments. From humble beginnings, we have broken barriers and records. From the rawness of basic knowledge, we have instilled values. Values that inculcate the blossoming of minds and the bestowing of virtue. Our accomplishments have touched the lives of so many. For indeed, our infusing of virtue with knowledge has been the key to our success. Why are we always striving? Why do we keep pushing the boundaries? Why do we constantly try to bring out the best in each of us? Because here, no matter where you're from, you are accorded the same right to succeed. We want them to build a better future, where good is not just created, but sustained. We stand for excellence in our students, shaping their values and developing the world. We strive for inspiration in our graduates, inspiring their dreams into reality. We want to go beyond the imaginable and bring out virtue beyond any barriers. To improve the quality of life everywhere, physically and spiritually. IIUM provides the best conducive learning environment for all students, offering a wide variety of amenities in the pursuit of knowledge. Opening avenues to reach the furthest realms of enlightenment. The International Islamic University of Malaysia. The garden of knowledge and virtue.
We make the world a better place forever. Expand the culture of Iqra. IUM is to realize the meaning of mercy to all the world for
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome to all audience to the closing ceremony of IIUM Road to Success 2021. We will begin our agenda real soon. Therefore, I would like to remind the participants of the call to ensure that your mic is muted at all times to avoid any distractions throughout the event. Don't forget to snap and shoot any moments pertaining to our closing ceremony and tag us on our Instagram at roadtosuccess.iium. We shall begin within a few minutes. minutes. Thank you. Announcing the arrival of Yang Berbahagia Encik Iskandar Shah Zulkarnain, Chief Human Resources Officer Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, Yang Berbahagia Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hassan, Deputy Rector, Student Development and Community Engagement, International Islamic University Malaysia, Madam Mizan binti Muhammad, Director, IIUM World Debate and Oratory Centre, IWON, International Islamic University Malaysia, Mr. Muhammad Abdul Latif, Deputy Director, IIUM World Debate and Oratory Centre, IWON, and Advisor of the IIUM Road to Success 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed with the singing of our national anthem, Negaraku, followed by the IIUM song, Leading the Way.
Let's lead the way, lighten the future, share the wisdom to the spirit of Islam. future. Share the wisdom to the spirit of Islam. Revelation and reason. We shall excel, we shall prevail. Merging faith and knowledge, we, the Khalifa, we will fulfill the Amanah. Together, we make the world a better place. Forever, expand the culture of Iqra. IIUM is to realize the meaning of Rahmatan lil Alamin. Together, we make the world a better place. Forever, expand the culture of Iqra. IUM is to realize the meaning of mercy to all the worlds, for all
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Brother Izzat Aiman bin Rapilus from the Kuliah of Islamic River Knowledge and Human Sciences to recite the dua. فليتفضل مشكورا. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Al-Fatihah. Na'udzu billahi samil alim minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma ja'al jam'ana hadha jam'an marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruqan mubarakan ma'suma wa la taj'alillahumma fina ولا معنا ما يتبعون شقيا ولا مطرودا ولا محروما. Ya Allah, Ya Kareem, Ya Wadud, we express our gratitude to you for allowing us to attend the closing ceremony of IIUM Road to Success 2021 on this auspicious evening. We ask you for the safety of our religion and the welfare of our body. O Allah, make the days that we're going through, starting with your mercy, continue with your blessings, and ended with the forgiveness, and also make the days that we're going through with guidance and end with the victory of excellence. Ya Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, let our efforts as a means to enlighten and convince ourselves that the personal safety and either outer or inner is a prerequisite for achieving happiness and excellence in various fields. Bless our life in this session and prevent us from harm and unfortunate events. Allahumma ja'al khayra a'marina akhiruhu wa khayra a'malina khawatimuhu wa khayra ayyamina yawma alqaka fih. Allahumma ighfir lana dhunubana ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. يا دافع البلاء يا الله ادفع عنا هذا البلاء والوباء والفحشاء والمنكر والفتن والمحن وما ظهر منها وما بطن عن بلدنا خاصة وسائر البلاد المسلمين عامة يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين والمجاهدين في كل مكان وكل زمن. ربنا عليك توكلنا وإليك أنبنا وإليك المصير. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. دعواهم فيها سبحانك اللهم وتحيتهم فيها سلام وآخر دعوانا ودعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. تقبل الله منا ومنكم.
Amin, Amin, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Thank you, Brother Izzat Aiman, for the dua recitation. May our event for today run smoothly with his blessings, inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good evening to everyone. Welcome to the closing ceremony of IIUM Road to Success 2021. I am Shasha Madhu from Kuliah of Islamic River Knowledge and Human Sciences, and it is my honor to be your master of ceremony for today. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, the IIUM Road to Success 2021 is a rebranding of the English category of the IIUM Interschool Debating Championship, known as IIUM IDC, consisting of two main agendas: the debate training camp that was held on the 17th and 18th of September, and the League of Champions debating competition. A total of 74 participants from 37 teams coming from 19 schools nationwide have given their utmost commitment, witnessing the clash of nuanced ideas and opinions as they debate through every motion laid on the table. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic since March 2020, creating limitations in the age of new norm, debate tournaments are never as the same as we have shifted to a virtual setting. Albeit these limitations, though, it does not stop us from continuing to strive forward, creating a dynamic generation with critical and creative thinking skills, nurturing the spirit of healthy debate among these bright and young talents that we see today. To walk you through the commencement of IIUM Road to Success 2021, let us all watch this montage prepared by the media team. Please watch.
Hello, my name is Anis Sufia and I'm one of the trainers and one of the adjudication core members for IIUM Road to Success 2021. So how we crafted the syllabus was we wanted to make it as simple and as systematic for the students, the participants to learn from. So before we got into the much more complicated matters, we wanted to expose the students with how to define certain terms through the what does this mean activity. And we also want to see how they justify their stance and what reasons they give to prove their stance via the this or that activity. So before we further ease them into arguments and responses, we also wanted them to see what exactly does a debate look like through the demo debate, and then only do we teach them how can they do that by themselves. So that is for the syllabus aspect. As for the motions, understanding that a lot of the participants come from backgrounds whereby they might not have debated before, or they have experience, but the number of participants who require more explanation and do not have experience are far bigger than the number of students who have had experience before. So we designed the motions as such that it would be accessible to everyone, while at the same time still touching like the core of very important concepts and recurring concepts and topics in debating itself. Based on my interaction with them during the training camp, I would say that the participants are very energetic. They have a very strong motivation to learn. They are always willing to ask a lot of questions, and they're also willing to engage when being asked about a certain question. So I think this is a very good thing. I really enjoyed the interactions that I've had with them so far, and I hope that they would remain energetic until the very end of the tournament and into other tournaments in the future. I would say that if you are here debating or joining the training camp, that is already a sign that you are willing to learn more. And in debating, the willingness to learn more is always very important. So I would highly encourage you to continue pursuing that interest in debating. Read more stuff that interest you, interact with more people that you think can teach you or that can help you become a better debater, and always take the opportunities that you can get, like be it entering more training competitions, attending trainings itself, like regular trainings with a specific coach, or even participating in as many competitions as you can. Because learning, debating, as of any kind of learning, is a journey. Debating is not something that you get better at immediately. And there is no specific timeline as to how long or how much time do you have to become a good debater. So take your time, learn, and take all the opportunities that you can get.
That was the media presentation prepared by our media team. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to first invite Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hassan, Deputy Rector, Student Development and Community Engagement, International Islamic University, Malaysia, to give his welcoming remarks. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much to the Master of Ceremony, Sister Shasha Madu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good evening. Yang berbahagia Encik Iskandar Shah Zulkarnain, Chief Human Resource Officer, presenting Tuan Haji Muhammad Muazzam bin Muhammad, CEO of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. Yang berbahagia Puan Mizan binti Muhammad, Director IIUM World Debate and Oratory Center. Yang berbahagia Encik Muhammad Abdul Latif, Director IIUM World Debate and Oratory Center, come advisor of the IIUM Road to Success 2021. Yang berusaha Brother Ahmad Amiruddin Azran, the Program Manager IIUM Road to Success 2021. Once again, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And not to forget the educators, teachers, debaters, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah. All praises be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with his bestowed blessing that we are today to witness the grand finale of the IIM Road to Success League of Champions Debate Competition 2021. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the IIM World Debate and Oratory Center, as well as the organizing committee, for making this program a success, albeit in a different setting. Usually, debate championship will be held physically in Gombak campus. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic that forces us to adapt to the new norms, the IIM Road to Success 2021 must be held online and virtually. Regardless of the limitations faced, there was overall positive receptions and participations from schools nationwide. I was informed that a total of 36 teams out of 19 schools, ranging from SMKs, SMIs, SVPs, and MRSMs, have joined the IIM Road to Success this year. And with that, I would like to congratulate and thank all of you for your eagerness to participate in this program. I would like also to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our partner, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, for collaborating with us as the main sponsor. I believe that with these collaborations, we will be able to empower the culture of debating among students in schools as well as in higher educational institutes. Ladies and gentlemen, International Islamic University has embarked on a journey of making change and creating impact for sustainability through its whole institution transformations with the strategic missions of humanizing education through maqasid sharia and sustainable development goals. When we mention SDG, what usually comes to our mind would be the initiatives towards sustaining the environment or eradicating poverty and hunger around the world. But the truth is, the Sustainable Development Goals doesn't stop there. The adaptations of SDGs by IIUM itself put emphasis on nurturing individuals with qualities that will contribute to mankind as well as the development of the holistic aspect. The IIUM strategic direction is also governed by the principle of Maqasid al-Sharia to preserve and promote the well-being of humanity through safeguarding of faith, hifzuddin, intellect, hifzul aqal. And here comes the importance of Iqra, or to read and to know. I believe that the culture of debates embodies and encourages the culture of Iqra. A good debater must be well-versed of multiple current issues, and one cannot simply argue or give opinions on something they do not have knowledge about. I believe that other than the sharpening oratory skills, the art of debating can also expand the culture of Iqra. It is very important, especially to be a good debater. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the initiative of organizing the IIM Road to Success debate training in camp and League of Champions inter-school debate competition respectively align very well with the current agenda of IIUM. For your information, IIUM is now pioneering institutions that empowers the culture of debate in public speaking in both local and international arena. Through this empowerment, inshallah, we have nurtured talents whom humbly started as debaters and are now contributing to the nation in any aspect of the national development. I was also informed that IIUM is planning to introduce debate scholarship, alhamdulillah, for English debaters from school who would want to join IIUM to further their studies. That will be a great opportunity for some of you. So keep an eye on the announcement on this coming soon, inshallah, and we will welcome you in IIUM, the Garden of Knowledge and Virtue. Ladies and gentlemen, to sum up, I hope that the commencements of the IIUM Road to Success 2021 and all initiatives related to it, like the debate camp that you have had last week and Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad Debate Development Grant will be continued in the future. I would like also to congratulate the winning teams in advance and all the best to all participants of the Road to Success League of Champions for contesting in this debate tournament. Despite the limitations due to the pandemic, you are all champions for your courage to seize this challenge in the age of new norms. Finally, a note of thanks to our alumni and debaters who have spent their valuable time over the weekend to judge the tournament, and our esteemed judges for the grand final. Thank you very much for your valuable time this afternoon. Thank you very much once again to Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. It is only with our valuable support we were able to reach out to the younger generations of our nation and help them build their skills and talent. With that note, I end my welcoming speech. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, Dr. Zulkifli, upon the wonderful and warm remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, now let us all welcome Encik Iskandar Shah Zulkarnain, the Chief Human Resources Officer of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, to represent the Chief Executive Officer, Tuan Haji Muazzam Mohamad, in delivering his officiating speech, hence officiating the closing ceremony of IIUM Road to Success 2021. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Firstly, thank you kepada MC kita Shasha. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day kepada yang berbahagia Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hasan, Deputy Rector Student Development and Community Engagement IIUM, yang berusaha Puan Mizan Muhammad, Director IIUM World Debate and Oratory Center, I1. Hope I got that right, I1. The respected adjudicators, teachers, and debaters, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to convey apologies from Tuan Haji Muhammad Muazzam, CEO of Bank Islam. He could not make it today. and he conveys his salam, to everyone. Praise be to Allah, for His blessings. We are here today to witness the grand finale and closing of IIUM Road to Success League of Champions Interschool English Debate Competition 2021. I want to extend my gratitude and congratulations to IIUM, specifically the IIUM World Debate and Oratory Center, IWON, for organizing the Road to Success competition, Road to Success debate competition. I would like to also take this opportunity to congratulate the organizing committee for making this virtual event a success. I hope everyone adapted well and enjoyed the new experience, as the new mode of delivery was undoubtedly in line with the new norms in this pandemic era. Ladies and gentlemen, when one mentions the word debate competition, one cannot help but think of IIUM and its accolades in this area. IIUM has created many debaters that continue to make their mark through their self-confidence, through their abilities to communicate well in their careers. Therefore, there is no doubt that IIUM and debates are inseparable. I was especially impressed with how confident the participants presented, how they defended their views with such grace, and did not undermine the opposing side. I also believe that there's more to gain, whether one wins or loses in the competition, as each participant learns the meaning of teamwork, the meaning of friendship, hard work, and gains a better insight on the issue at hand. Ladies and gentlemen, Bank Islam has always emphasized the importance of education and obtaining the right skills and knowledge to leap forward in the industry. The same focus is also placed on providing the necessary support to develop knowledgeable leaders of tomorrow. We believe the younger generation that can make informed judgments and decisions will also elevate dignity and contribute to the country's economic progress. This debate competition is considered as one of the gateways in producing a scholarly society. Therefore, in this spirit, Bank Islam has been proud to be the primary sponsor for this program since the year 2019. On behalf of Bank Islam, I would also like to take this opportunity to announce that the Bank Islam Debate Development Grant for selected schools in the country. So this grant will be awarded to the school with good participation and performance in debates in Malay and English. One of the criteria that will be considered includes a proactive internal or external debate training initiatives by the school. The chosen school will be awarded a grant of RM 3,000 sponsored by Bank Islam and technical and training assistance from IIUM World Debate and Oratory Center, IWON. So I invite all schools to apply for the grant using the application form disseminated by the organizers. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our hope that the organization of this competition and the BIMB Debate Development Grant will immensely contribute to the efforts of preparing our youth that will drive our country forward in the future. Who knows? Maybe one day, one of you who started as a debater today will be the people's representative, speaking in parliament, or a successful leader in the corporate world. Most importantly, inshallah, you might be amongst the most vocal, the most knowledgeable and bold Malaysian that will never be afraid to speak up about current issues in the national and world stage. With that, I now officially close IIUM Road to Success League of Champions Interschool English Debate Competition 2021. Congratulations to all winners and participants. Thank you, and wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Encik Iskandar, for officiating the closing ceremony of IIUM Road to Success 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to promote to you of the announced grant initiative, which is the Bank Islam Debate Development Grant. The application is open to schools with an excellent debate performance from the years 2019 to 2021, a proactive internal-external debate training initiatives, and a planned projection for schools' future in debate. Schools that apply will stand a chance to win a grant of 3,000 ringgit as well as technical and training assistance from IWON. You can proceed to apply via the link tinyurl.com/debatedevgrant2021, which can be retrieved from our Instagram at roadtosuccess.iium and will also be dispersed via the WhatsApp group later. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, earlier today, prior to the closing ceremony, was the commencement of the grand finale of the League of Champions debating competition. With the motion, the House believes that individuals who actively choose to not take COVID-19 vaccines should be barred from receiving treatment in government hospitals if they contract COVID-19. Before we announce the best speaker and the champion of the competition, let us first hear the overall comments from the chair of the panel of judges. For your information, the grand finale was adjudicated by a panel of 9 adjudicators who are the alumni of IIUM debates, now serving as different key industry players, not only in Malaysia, but also some currently based in Indonesia, Hungary, and Australia. The chair of judges is a finance professional and business leader, currently serving as managing director, Group International Business at RHB Bank. He was also a top 10 speaker for the Australs back in 1995 and 1996. His other achievements include an All-Asian champion back in 1996 and a top 10 speaker. He was a champion at the Royal Malaysian InterVarsity Debating Championship in 1995 and also as the grand final best speaker. A very prominent, a very notable indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, let us hear comments from the chair himself, Mr. Syed Ahmad Taufik Alba. Here. Please welcome.
Thank you, Shasha. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and good afternoon, everyone. Yang berbahagia Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli Hassan, Deputy Director of Student Development and Community Engagement, IIUM. Yang berusaha Encik Iskandar Shah Zulkarnain, Chief Human Resource Officer, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. And of course, my ex-partners in crime, Wan Mizan, Director of IWON at IIUM, and my old teammate, Encik Muhammad Abdul Latif, who used to debate together with me many years ago. But let's not mention how many years ago lah. That will give away our age. Huge respect to all of the things that has been done, of course, under the leadership of the Associate Professor, Deputy Rector, with the support of Bank Islam, with the commitment of people like Puan Mizan, Cik Latif, and even Brother Ahmad Amiruddin, the Program Manager. If I were to just take the liberty to speak on behalf of my fellow adjudicators, I think all of us are extremely honored and feel very privileged to have been a part of this event. And in fact, all of us are extremely proud to be IIUM alumni, generally, and of course, specifically proud to be alumni of IIUM debating fraternity. Many of the achievements that us adjudicators have achieved many years ago now pale in comparison, actually, with the achievements of the later generations of debaters. So we're extremely proud that successive generations have gone on to achieve far greater successes. So we have come back now, all 9 of us, to play our part in hopefully contributing a little bit in nurturing the next generation of future debaters. And for now, at this stage, it's at the school level. And just to say that we have been really excited seeing students in action over the course of about an hour plus earlier this afternoon. It wasn't an easy decision. In fact, we had to tell the organizers that we needed a few extra minutes to really deliberate and get the right decisions. All in all, I think we were very pleased with the skills, and the knowledge that came across from all of the debaters. Of course, in any competition, some people would have done better than others. And I think after we deliberated, I think the choice became obvious who the winner should be and who the best speaker should be. But if maybe we can leave the participants with a little bit of an advice for their own future development, maybe is one thing to note is for them to really address the issues holistically, looking at the issues from multiple different angles. On some occasions throughout the debate, we felt that a number of the arguments were repeated a couple of times when there could have been further developed and further extended through the injection of different perspectives, perhaps the perspectives of the frontliners, perhaps from the perspectives of how the government handled people who did not vaccinate themselves against other diseases. We didn't see that sort of example came throughout the debate. Today there are anti-vaxxers not just against COVID-19, there are also anti-vaxxers against vaccination for measles, for chickenpox, right? There are some people who still refuse to vaccinate their children for that. What do we do in those cases, and what lessons can be drawn from those examples that we can bring to bear in a debate such as this about COVID-19? So whilst we were happy with the solidity and the rigor of the arguments presented by the participants earlier, we felt maybe some of the points could have been extended and expanded to cover other examples, perspectives of other players, such as frontliners, as I mentioned. And hopefully with this little bit of advice, I hope, and we, the adjudicators hope, that the students, the debaters can take it to heart and find ways to improve and become better debaters, better students, and better leaders in the future. That's all from me. Again, it's been a pleasure. And me personally also, it's been a pleasure to reconnect with my fellow ex-debaters of IIU, the fellow panelists in the adjudication panel. Is a real honor and privilege for me personally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Taufik, for the comments. It is hoped that their comments come off as a meaningful input to all participants for their future endeavors in debate and also in the real world. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached our main agenda, the prize-giving ceremony. So we will first announce the top 10 best speakers for the League of Champions debating competition, in which all of them shall be awarded an e-certificate to acknowledge the achievement. First up, sharing the 9th best speaker spots with an average speaker score of 76. Muhammad Nazrul Hakim from SM Science Alam Shah, Team I Forgot. Afrina Husna from MRSM Alur Gajah, Team Fantastic Duo. And Muhammad Amin from Sekolah Sultan Alam Shah, Team SAS A. Moving on to the 6th best speaker with an average speaker score of 76.25 respectively is Megat Akhtar from Sekolah Tuanku Abdurrahman, Team Star A, together with his teammate Nur Faris Khan from Sekolah Tuanku Abdurrahman, Team Star A. Next, we have the 5th Best Speaker Award with an average speaker score of 76.5, Elia Maisara from Sekolah Sri Putri, Team SSP Wigo. Next, the 4th Best Speaker Award with an average speaker score of 76.75, Adam Shahmi from MCKK, Team MCDU2. And sharing the 2nd Best Speaker seats with an average speaker score of 77, Adib Amanuddin from MCKK, Team MCDU1, and Muhammad Irfan from MRSM Alur Gajah, Team Fantastic Duo. The overall best speaker for League of Champions debating competition that shall bring home a certificate and cash prize of 200 ringgit goes to Raja Shahrin from Malay College Kuala Kangsar, Team MCDU 1. Congratulations to all the best speakers. And now, finally, ladies and gentlemen, the moment that we all have been waiting for, which is the results of the grand final round that is now in my hand, almost literally. For your information, the stage has witnessed the following teams during the final round. Team MCDU 2 from MCKK as the opening government, Team MCDU 1 as the opening opposition, Team Star A as the closing government, and Team SAS A as the closing opposition. I will first announce the final best speaker that will also bring home a certificate and a cash prize of 200 ringgit. The grand finale best speaker goes to Brother Adam Shahmi from Malay College Kuala Kangsar, Team MCDU 2. Congratulations for bringing home the award. And now, finally, announcing the champions of the League of Champions debating competition that shall bring home a total prize of 1,500 ringgit, and the runner-up team finalists that will each receive a cash prize of 500 ringgit respectively. Who do you think champions the debate? Ladies and gentlemen, with the motion, the House believes that individuals who actively choose to not take COVID-19 vaccines should be barred from receiving treatment in government hospitals if they contract COVID-19. The champion of IIUM Road to Success League of Champions Debating Competition 2021 goes to, drum roll please, Team Star A from Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman, Megat Akhtar, and Faris Khan. Congratulations to our champions. You are now the champion of IIUM Road to Success League of Champions Debating Competition 2021. Congratulations to the closing government. Let us not forget to congratulate our finalists, MCDU 2, MCDU 1, and SAS A. Commiserations to everyone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with the announcement of the champions, this marks the end of IIUM Road to Success 2021. Congratulations to all finalists, champions, winners, and participants, and thank you very much for joining us until the very end. On behalf of the organizing committees, we would like to thank you for your participation, and we'd also like to apologize for any shortcomings. Also, don't forget to apply for the Bank Islam Debate Development Grant to stand a chance in winning a 3,000 ringgit grant as well as special technical training from IWAN. You can scan the QR code right beside me over here. Signing off as your MC, I'm Shasha Fuad and hoping to see you again in the near future. To all participants in this call, please stay for us to have a virtual photography session. Till the very end, thank you and wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, everyone.